Hi everyone, welcome to C2 Software's webinar which covers Microsoft Dynamics CRM with a particular reference to the oil and gas industry. What we'll cover in today's webinar is a quick overview of the dashboards within CRM. We'll also look at the sales process, the service process and some marketing. And we'll also look at some of the other systems that can be integrated with your CRM to create a seamless business solution for you. So when we first log into Dynamics CRM, the home page is a dashboard. A dashboard can be thought of as a screen which is comprised of various widgets which show the normal day-to-day common business operations and data that an individual user may need in their day-to-day business. Dashboards, just like all other aspects of Dynamics CRM, can be configured to show the information that you wish to record within your CRM in the format that you wish to see it. In this example, we've got a sales pipeline chart which shows the progress of our opportunities through our sales process and also a list of actions that have happened. I can look at different dashboards by selecting other ones. So I'll look at some personal dashboards. These are ones that have been created just for me as the logged in user. And here we can see various charts and a list of opportunities for me to gain some business for the company. We'll look at these in a little more detail later on in the webinar. So let's start off by looking at the sales function within Dynamics CRM. So I go to the sales area. And within the sales area I can see lots of different types of entity, lots of different types of records that we can hold within our CRM. We have the concept of accounts, which are a list of organisations with which you have a business relationship. We have the concept of contacts, which is a list of individuals, and the two can be married together, the two can be linked. So you can reflect who works for each organisation. And we also have the concept of leads and opportunities. Leads are very much like cold leads in a traditional sense. Opportunities are leads which have progressed a little bit further to become an opportunity for business. Once the opportunity is confirmed as one, then that person becomes a contact or an account in the system if there's not already a record for them. If there is, there's a new opportunity created and it's linked to the contact. And again, we'll show you this in a little bit more detail in a second. But to show you the sales process, I'm going to go to a lead and I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to create a lead. Now, I'm not going to make you sit through this, so I'm just going to pause the video for a second and move on slightly. Okay, so I've quickly populated a topic name for my lead, just new demo lead for the webinar, and I've entered a name for the person I'm dealing with. If it was a person who already existed in our system, I could select them from here, which gives me a lookup to all of the different contacts that are already in the system. If it relates to an existing account, I can populate that here. I can also populate a time frame, the estimated budget, I'll say they've got an estimated budget of £10,000, the purchase process, the decision maker. I can put a little summary in. And I can also relate that to a particular installation facility. I'll just say it's for the Amethyst A2D platform. And I'll save that. Now, this screen will introduce us to one of the inbuilt features of Dynamics CRM, which is a sales process which can be configured to your needs. In this case, we've added the facility field so that we can support this to support sales and service opportunities to particular oil and gas facilities. Now that I've completed the lead, I can follow this process through and develop my proposal. So I've got a lead. I want to take this a little bit further, so what I'm going to do is qualify the lead, which will turn it into an opportunity. And I do that by clicking the qualify button. The CRM then goes ahead and uses the details that are in the lead to create an opportunity. So now we can see we're looking at the opportunity, and by looking at the process we can see what stage this sales opportunity is at. We've passed the lead stage and now we're on to develop. So again, I can populate some details here. Customer need, I can put the details in there for what the customer needs, what solution we wish to provide for them, and I can identify any stakeholders. If there were any extra stakeholders here, I could add them in this area here. Also, if we want to mark any competitors that we're dealing with, we can do so. Again, on the form there's an area to log the competitors. Now that I've completed all the fields in the opportunity, on this stage of the opportunity, I can move it on to the next stage, and I do that simply by clicking the next stage, which takes us to the propose stage of the opportunity, and all of these opportunities can be reported on, so we can run a report of all the leads that are at the qualify stage, all the opportunities that are at the develop stage, all the opportunities that are at the propose stage, and we can report on that. Once it's progressed slightly, we can then close it as won or close the opportunity as lost, and we can give different reasons for it. If it's won, we can put in how much revenue was generated. If it's lost, we can say why we lost it. I can also put an estimated close date in. I expect this deal to be closed on the 26th of May, and I reckon, using a bit of business logic, that I reckon we're actually going to get £9,000 out of this sale, so I'll record that. Now you'll see this becoming more important later on when we look at the dashboards where these figures are used. But that's the sales process. Now hopefully you can see that by using a business process within your business, what we can do is we can enforce that your users and your staff members follow the correct procedure, and in addition to that, you can also quickly onboard new staff. If they've been given a little bit of training in how to operate the CRM, they can be trained to go in and just fill in the various fields as they go, and that solves a lot of training issues. It's a very simple, structured process that all of your users go through. And I know I've already said this, but it is important to say that all parts of Dynamics CRM are fully customizable to your business operations. For example, if you need extra stages in your business process flow, that's very easy to add. If you need extra fields, or you need fields removed, or you need fields reformatted, or you need the layout of this form changed, it's very easy to do without any developer knowledge. You do have to have a bit of nous and a bit of ability to do so, but you don't need to be a developer and have coding experience. So for this demo, let's just push this on to the next stage of the process. I've completed my final proposal. I've presented it to the client. They've accepted it, and they accepted it today. I'll send a thank you, file debrief, and now I can close my opportunity as lost or close it as won. So I'm going to close it as won. It asks me for a reason, which is one, the actual revenue, because before we did log that they had a budget of £10,000. We reckoned the work estimate would be 9,000, but I can change this to say actually we got 9,500 from this sale, and I can enter a description if I wish. Hit OK, and that will then close the opportunity. You'll see that the opportunity at the bottom of the screen goes to read only and is marked as won. If for any reason a user has made a mistake, the opportunity can easily be reopened by clicking the reopen button. So now that you've seen the sales process demonstrated, what I'd like to do is go back to a sales dashboard and show you how that's reflected within the dashboards. Now there's two ways I can get to my dashboards. I can either hit my home button, or I can go to the sales or service area and click dashboards. When I go in, I can then look at this dashboard, which will show me a list of all the open opportunities that are in our system. Here is a list of them, filtered by estimated close date. So we can see there's a few in our system that are overdue. Not a big problem, we can go back and chase those up. But by looking higher up, I can look at more information. I can look into my information in much more detail. What I can do is I can see that there are a number of opportunities in the west of Shetland area. If I highlight over it, I can see there's £66,975 of potential business there. But we've got a lot more potential business in the southern North Sea. If I look at this particular chart, it's going to show me the number of open opportunities for each of our sales staff. So I can see Ewan has 53 outstanding, Richard has 53 outstanding, Guy has 38, Dan has 54, and Mark has 18. We can also see what stage they're at. So I can see we've got £775,530 of potential business at the proposed stage. I can also see it filtered out by the owner of each operator. Now, as well as giving me a visual representation of our data, I can also use my charts to drill down, and this becomes very, very powerful. Let's say, for example, I want to look at these 53 opportunities that belong to Richard. If I double click on this one, I can say, well, what I want to see that by is the facility. So of those 53 opportunities, I want to see that broken down by facility, and I want to see it in this kind of chart, a bar chart. So I'll click that, and there we go, we can see all of those. Now, this particular chart is quite difficult to read, but I can see there are 7 for the Nelson platform, and if I want to see that in more detail, I can double click and I can drill down even further and see which contact we're dealing with for each of these opportunities. So there we go, they're all for Ruben Schmidt. If I want to see more information, I can drill down even further and I can view it by estimated revenue, and I'll show that in a pie chart. So we can drill down into our data very, very powerfully using the charts. And as well as getting into the data this way, any charts that I'm in, once I've drilled down, if I click this little icon here, I can see the records that are used to generate that chart. So I can drill down into my data. And here we go, I can see each of those records. If I want to go and see more information on this particular one, let's double click and we can drill right in on the customer's data. So I can see that this opportunity is still at the develop stage, it belongs to this owner, that's what we estimate the revenue is going to be, and that's the budget. So you can see the power of dashboards. And do remember, as I said, these, along with all other parts of the CRM, are fully configurable. They can also be set up on a per user basis. Users can create their own dashboards. So each user can have their own dashboard that shows them the information that's important to them. As an example, as well as a dashboard that shows me the opportunities that I'm involved in, i.e. the demo opportunities view, I can also view another one that I've created for demo sales performance, and what this does is it shows the performance of the sales team over time. So I can see who the top customers are for our team, I can see the number of opportunities by fluid type, and again it's a drillable chart, so I can go in and drill down, so I can say, well, there's those many in gas, who are the what facilities do they relate to? So I'll put that in here, and again we can see that in quite a powerful graph. And again I can export those, or I can view the records that are used to generate that chart by clicking the expand button. And again this gives me access to each of those opportunities. Now the example I've just demonstrated is simply for sales teams, but the CRM can also be used for service teams, for marketing, for HR, for any type of business function that you have. So let's go ahead and look at the service function as designed for this demonstration. What we have under the service area is again our accounts, our contacts, our cases. Some companies will refer to them as incidents or issues or anything like that, but essentially it's an after sales service. Or if you're in the service industry, this is where you will record most of your business functions. We can also see the installations that we've created. So if I click on that, I can see a list of all the oil and gas installations in our system. I can also look at the oil and gas fields. Again, we have them listed. So looking at a field, I can see which installations are in each field. But what we'd most like to demonstrate today is the service calendar. This allows for strategic scheduling of your resources. So what we have here is we've got a list of all of our resources in our system, and what I'm going to do is schedule a visit to one of the installations by one of our engineering teams. And I do that by clicking the schedule button on the service calendar. It's going to open a wizard for me to allow me to look at who's available at certain times. So I'll start off by defining which customer we're going to do some work for, or we have a quote for. So I'm going to do it for Shell. For Shell we're going to give an assessment of their installation. If there's a specific resource I want to send, I can pick them from the list. If there's a particular site, one of our branches that I want to send them from, I can specify that in here. So I can say specifically I want people from Aberdeen, or I can leave it open and click find available times. The CRM will then look at all our resources, who's available on the dates that we've specified here. So I've specified as soon as possible, but I could specify specific dates. I can give specific start times. I also can choose a duration, but the duration is based, in this case, on the type of service. If I change that from assessment to something else, let's say it's an installation, that will have a different duration which will be taken into account. So that's a whole day. That will be taken into account when we schedule the activity. So what I'm going to do is I want to send this resource group, so that's Engineer 1 from Great Yarmouth and Engineer 2 from Great Yarmouth, as long as a vessel to get them there and a skipper. All of them are available at this date and time. So I'll select that, hit schedule, and it will take me back to the schedule form. I can quickly put in my subject line and say this is for an installation service at, where will I say? I'm going to say that's at Cavendish. Excuse my typing. I can choose my site here, which will tailor this or tie this to the Cavendish facility. Installation, sorry. There we go, save that. And as well, before I demonstrate this on the service calendar, I'd like to introduce another piece of functionality to CRM. At the moment, the time is shown as reserved. But when the engineers arrive on site, they can use their mobile devices, their tablets, to say, for example, I've arrived, the job's in progress, it's pending, it's finished, blah de blah de blah, and that can then be reported on and that can be updated within the service calendar. So I'm going to save this. I'll save and close the record, and if I go and look at the date that we've just created that for, which was the 28th, I can look at that and see that this resource has been booked out for that time and date. So has this resource, and if we scroll down we can see the vessel and the skipper. So again, you can use this to do very sophisticated service scheduling. You set up the types of service that you provide, the resources that are required, their work schedules, and you can use Dynamics CRM. Using the wizard can work out who's available and when. It's a very sophisticated solution. And again, this information can be exported out to dashboards. It can be shown in charts. So you've got full analysis and full drillability of all of your data and the relationships between it. Because of the service reporting, let's look at a case. We don't have any cases set up to demonstrate for you, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. Again, we have the business process flow that's going to take your users through a defined process. Again, the process has stages and therefore can be reported on. And because you can report on it, it can also be incorporated into dashboards. There are some service performance dashboards out of the box, but any can be configured to show the data that your organization needs. And that's a quick introduction to the service area. So let's now look at the marketing area. In the marketing area, again, we have our lists of accounts, contacts and leads. They are the three types of entities that we can send marketing campaigns to. But let's go ahead and look at marketing lists. I'm going to create a marketing list so that we can run a campaign on all of our accounts who happen to be in Aberdeen, and then a separate campaign on all our accounts which are not based in Aberdeen. So what I'm going to do is quickly click the new button. I'm going to give this a name. I'm going to give it a very descriptive name of Accounts in Aberdeen. Now, we can also have two different types of marketing list within Dynamics CRM. The first is a static list, and once a static list has been created, the members of the marketing list can only be added or removed by user intervention. If you make a dynamic list, what happens is each time the marketing list is run, it will rerun a query. For example, each time a dynamic list is built based on accounts in Aberdeen, it will rerun and research the database and trawl it to pull back all accounts in Aberdeen. And what that means is if you get a new account in Aberdeen, they will automatically be added to this list. If you have an account which you delete off your system, which was in Aberdeen, they'll disappear off this list. If they've moved location and they move from Aberdeen to out with it, they'll move off of your accounts in Aberdeen marketing list and onto your accounts not in Aberdeen list. So I'm going to set this up very quickly to show you how this is done. So I've created my list. I'm going to manage the members of this list, and I'm going to say this list is made up of accounts where the city field equals Aberdeen. Simple as that. Hit find. It'll give me an overview of everyone to be added. I'll say I'm happy with that, so I use the query and there it is. It creates a list of all of our 39 accounts which are in the Aberdeen area, or in the city of Aberdeen, sorry. So what I'll do now is quickly create another one which is accounts not in Aberdeen. Again, I'm going to make it a dynamic list. I'm going to target that at accounts, save that, manage the members, and this time I'm just going to say that address 1 city does not equal Aberdeen. Now before I move on, I'd just like to demonstrate that you can add as many filters as you like. As well as looking at information that's held on the account, you can also look out to related entities. So if I wanted, I could look at accounts where they've raised a case with a particular subject line, or I could create a list of ones where the parent account is not in Aberdeen, etc, etc, etc. As well as adding all of these clauses, we can also group the clauses with and or logic. But here we now have a list of 267 accounts which are not in Aberdeen. And when I look at my marketing lists, I can see them here. Once I've got a list, I can highlight it, I can create a quick campaign, and that can then send out an email which uses mail merge fields, or we can send out letters, or we can create a phone campaign which goes out to each of those accounts and helps us both record and analyse our campaigns. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview of the sales, service and marketing sides of CRM. But please do remember, this is also available on mobiles, on smartphones. Users can access the app, they can use it on the move. So you could have users in the UK on the mainland working on desktops and other users working offshore using their apps, using the same data, using slightly different interfaces to access the same data or the same silos of data. You can also integrate Dynamics CRM with many other Microsoft products and other third-party software. So you could integrate your CRM with your Sage and raise invoices, which can then be pushed out to your Sage system. There's also document management facilities. You've got social engagement, voice of the customer. There are so many other components that can be added in to build the perfect solution for you if CRM doesn't already provide it. So hopefully that's given you a good overview of the CRM, how it can be used in the oil and gas industry. But please, if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us, check us on our website, give our sales team a call, or check us out on YouTube. Thanks for listening.